Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to my YouTube channel, Eric Brothers YouTube. I say again, welcome to my YouTube channel, Eric Brothers YouTube, and also to my Rumble channel, Snacks123 on Rumble. And I say again, welcome. And so today, I wanted to briefly touch on some military content, but more or less transitioning, from the military and how to utilize it as a stepping stone, to further your next career or to take advantage of different opportunities. And I believe for many people, serving in the armed forces, it provides certain pathways and even a pathway to move up the socio-economic ladder. Now, it's concerning the military's makeup. Obviously, you have the five branches of service. You have the Army, Navy, Air Force, the Marines, Coast Guard. And then obviously you have your reserves and National Guard. Now, from what I understand, supposedly they say the military is made up, I guess, maybe of a higher percentage of maybe middle class individuals, but I would think that it's more working class and lower middle class individuals, with the numbers getting smaller, as you move up to the middle class, the upper middle, and those that come from wealthy families. The numbers get smaller, and it would make sense, because they come from, if you're coming from a wealthy family or upper middle class background, normally those young men and women have access to other opportunities, so they have more choices on the menu. But for a lot of young men and women that are coming from, say, maybe less privileged backgrounds, working class, lower middle class, I would think is really where the bulk of a lot of, but what I'm saying, and obviously some middle class, but it is a pathway, that can lead to success. And I definitely would highly encourage and urge those that are currently serving in the armed forces to take advantage of the opportunities that are available to you. The military does offer some unique opportunities, and I have other videos on this. Obviously, we know education is one of the big ones. Where you can get an education and have your tuition paid, for free. You can basically get a free ride. Now, I understand the armed forces has changed maybe certain policies where they have tightened the rules on whether on those certain individuals in the military that can get their tuition paid for free. And what that means is that your records, have to be good. Your performance at your job must be good, else Uncle Sam will no longer pay for military members free ride and education, which makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Why, if you're already investing money into these men and women serving in the armed forces and they're not performing well at their job, then why would you invest money into a military member, for them to get better educated, and then they can take the skills that they've learned, they can take that education and that degree, and then they can transition to the outside, getting a free ride from Uncle Sam when they really didn't perform their job well. So they have, tightened things up, and your supervisor, from what I understand now, has to, I guess, kind of got to sign off on it, or approve, before you can take classes. Now, I mean, my personal opinion, when I was in, I didn't have to do that. I could just use tuition assistance, and just take the classes. And as long as you have to, I think you have to pass the class. As long as you get a C, I think it was a C or something like that, or a C minus. Then you don't have to pay the government back, for the classes. But that's just one opportunity. But there are other opportunities and valuable skills that you learn. I have a video out where I talk about military skills that are desired by every employer. And so um, obviously, serving in the military, you do learn discipline. That's definitely one thing. Discipline. I would say time management. What I'm saying, how to manage your time, because when you are serving in the military, you have to wear many different hats. For those of you that are currently serving, or those of my vets that have served before, you guys know how it is with the military. In a lot of cases, we don't necessarily do an 8-hour shift. Now, in certain cases, depending on what particular job you have, and if you're in a peacetime environment, in some cases you may have maybe say a 9 or a 10 hour day. Now, and I'm gonna break this down because it would depend. Each branch of service has its own mission requirements, and then within the branches of service, obviously with the it's basically your job. With the Army and Marines, they call it MOS, military occupational skills. The Air Force will call it Air Force specialty what is it, specialty code, AFSC. And I think the Navy and Coast Guard would call it the SKT. That's an acronym for it. But basically, what it means is basically your particular career field and the type of job that you do in the armed forces. You know what I'm saying? Now, obviously, if you were to take, say, a person that does administrative duties in the armed forces, right? And versus, say, an infantryman, those are two different occupational specialties, and they require different skill sets and specific training, and they may require, more time. A person that may be doing admin. Now, both can work longer than, say, maybe an 8 or 9 hour shift, depending on mission requirements. But generally speaking, I would have to think that probably maybe someone that's an infantryman, they probably going to have, longer hours in a peacetime environment, generally speaking, because of the type of training and preparation that they have to do. Whereas a person that's doing, say, basic administrative duties, like in, say, maybe an office assistant, they may more function like a more of a 9 to 5, type schedule during peacetime, or unless there's maybe certain mission requirements where they have to prepare things, for certain types of deployments and, exercises and other operations where that may require them to do longer hours. Then you also have to consider, when I say probably like a 9-hour shift, and now I'm talking just a peacetime environment. Remember, all branches of service have to do physical fitness training. So you have what's known as a PT test, and so normally, generally speaking, most branches of service run the training segment running anywhere from 3 to 5 days. Generally speaking, a week. What I'm saying, so they can keep members, physically fit. So that takes time. So you figuring after you finish doing PT, depending on what's required, you're talking about another hour to maybe an hour and a half. Then they got to turn around. They got to people got to get showered up and get prepared. So that's going to take another probably about an hour to an hour and a half, maybe even 2. Added on to your schedule, and then you got to come to work and still do your regular job like a person would at a 9 to 5. So but you definitely learn how to wear different hats. The military offers training in leadership opportunities. If there's a place where young men and women can learn some leadership skills, I would say the military would have to be, if not number 1, it's got to be in the top 2, teaching people leadership skills. You know what I'm saying? On how to lead people. Organizing things. Please forgive the noise, guys. I didn't close the windows, but so these are different skills where you learn how to lead and also manage people. Different projects that you have to handle, and these are skills, if you hone them correctly, you can take these to the outside, and employers would be happy to have it. Then you have to also remember that many of the classes that you take in the military, even though we may discount it. Give me a second, guys. Let me close this window. Give me a second. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. But many of these skills, you know what I'm saying, when you're taking just regular courses in the armed forces where they're giving you training classes, these do count, you know, for college credits, you know, the certificates that you get while you are in the armed forces. I would say, you know, to guys that are in or getting it, keep your certificates and, you know, take your training seriously, you know, because you never know when you may have to use it. And what are some of the things that the military offers for free? What do we have? Self-aid buddy care. You know, you have self-aid buddy care classes. Depending on the mission, some career fields require that you do it quarterly, semi-annually, or at least once a year. You know what I'm saying? To, you know, requalify. So, you know, you do self-aid buddy care where you learn how to, I guess you could say maybe some light stuff, you know what I'm saying, in the medical field, you know what I'm saying? You know, everything from doing tourniquets, you know what I'm saying? Let's see, how to inject, you know what I'm saying, maybe, oh gosh, what is it? Certain antidotes, you know what I'm saying, for if you know, in a chemical warfare attack, you know. Let's see, what else do we have? We have CPR. You know, the military requires members to take CPR classes. You know, so you get those classes. I'm trying to think. There's some other ones I can't think off the top of my head. Obviously, how to wear and put on the chemical ensemble. You know, the chemical ensemble. You know, with the gas mask. How to put on. You know, you put on the suit. You know what I'm saying. Make sure you check your filters. You know, and also learning how to do your job. You know what I'm saying, while fully suited up in the chemical ensemble. You know, so learning how to operate in that, learning decon procedures, you know what I'm saying, how to decon an area, decontaminate it, you know what I'm saying, should an attack, you know, or any type of chemicals or stuff or biological warfare happen, you know, how to clean and decon, you know what I'm saying, people, yourself, and your environment. These are valuable skills. What is the disaster preparedness? That's one I was upset. Disaster preparedness, you know, which I used to be on that particular team. But with disaster preparedness, we learn everything from self-aid buddy care to CPR, to how to do, you know, hazardous cleanups. You know what I'm saying? If certain chemicals spill out, you know, sometimes military aircraft or different, military vehicles, they may have certain spills of certain types of oils or chemicals, and you have to know how to, clean the area up so that way it doesn't spread and not only affect those, maybe on the base, but even if it's on the civilian side, you have to know how to do hazardous cleanup. You know what I'm saying? Or if you have vehicles or fighter pilots crashing, you have to know how to cordon your area off. You know what I'm saying? And to clean all of that off, clean all of that up, and make the area safe. You know what I'm saying? And make the environment safe. So these are just some different skills, and you get certificates. You know what I'm saying, for this. So I would say, to those that are in, keep your certificates. And for those, this is also for those that are thinking about going into the military. You know, these are different things that military members are told. These are just some of it, you know. What else do you get? You get weapons training is another. Now, obviously, some individuals, depending on career field, again, may get more weapons training, you know what I'm saying, and on different types of weapons, and may even get more specialized training depending on what their career field. Obviously, we know special forces is in a different category by themselves, you know what I'm saying, so they're specialized, you know, but the rest of your regular military, your infantry guys, you know what I'm saying, your security forces guys, but even just your regular military guys, everybody, you know what I'm saying, has to learn, you know what I'm saying, to shoot. You know what I'm saying? So you get, self-defense, you know what I'm saying, is another, all of these skills. And, you know, I would say that for those that do go in, whatever you are taught from the military, try to master it, or learn as much as you can, because you never know when you are going to need it. And many times I think that a lot of military members, and I've done it at times too, um, because we perceive the training as being free, and sometimes we just go through the motions just to pass the course, and we may not retain all of it, you know what I'm saying, because some of us, may not have been paying as much attention as we should while we were taking it. But then situation can come up and you will need that training, and trust me, I know, the reason why I say that is that what happens if you go from a peacetime environment to a wartime environment? What happens if you go to a hostile environment and now you're in a combat situation? All of those things and those skills that you learned in peacetime, you know what I'm saying, may need to use those or utilize those skills in that training, once you get downrange. And so, even after you come out of a combat zone, peacetime or combat, when you convert to the civilian side, these are different things that you can use. You never know what your employer is going to ask for, and it also depends on the job. But all of those certificates that you get and all of those courses, and like I said, a lot of it counts for college credits. So I would say definitely learn all you can while you're in the military and take advantage. There's also other opportunities that are afforded, what I'm saying, the military through, like, what is it, morale, welfare, and recreation. So a lot of things they provide to military members, and I guess even some of the civil service that may be working, on the basis. They provide certain activities, that are free and that the government pays for. So I would say take advantage of it. You know what I'm saying? But all these things combined, if you utilize them right, and while you are in, the military can, provide you certain pathways. Let's see. What are some of the one of the good things I would say for military members, right? And for those that you are looking to join the military, I'll give you one good example. You can use tuition assistance to get your education done while you're in, and then once you leave the military, you have the GI Bill. You have the Montgomery GI Bill, which you can use to further your education. You can also use it, what I'm saying, the VA home loan aspect of it, what I'm saying, to, purchase you a home. And obviously, many people state that home ownership is one of the biggest ways to wealth. You know what I'm saying? So those are certain benefits. And then for those of you, once you become a veteran, say if your GI Bill runs out, you can switch over to vocational rehabilitation. For those that have a specific VA rating and you qualify, if you leave just maybe 6 months, I think, of your GI Bill, if you're close to running out on it, you can have them, they convert it, what I'm saying, over to vocational rehabilitation, and you can get another 3 to 4 years, what I'm saying, to finish your educational program, or it depends on what the requirements are. What I'm saying? And along, ladies and gentlemen, with this Voc Rehab or Montgomery GI Bill, you not only get the tuition paid for, but you get a housing allowance. You get a housing stipend, to go with that, to pay for your mortgage, or, what I'm saying, to pay your rent, and then you can either, decide to maybe do a work study, what I'm saying, on the side to bring you some extra money in while you're going to school, pursuing your education. Or for some, maybe you guys may do DoorDash or other stuff, but nevertheless, you're bringing in extra income. But these are some of the benefits, of serving in the armed forces, and how it can help you. Now, they always say in the military that, it's the salary. You're not gonna get rich, but you know what I'm saying, you do have a stable. And actually, when you look at everything and all the benefits, you have a pretty good income. And there are some individuals that are savvy with their money and wise enough. They know. And now obviously you have TSP to go along with your retirement. Then some people they learn how to invest their money. So they go and do different things. Stock market, some bonds, CDs, blah blah blah, and they grow their money over time. So they have a nice little nest egg. And by the time they get ready to get out, obviously, you had early retirement in the military. It starts at what, 20 years, and for enlisted, depending how far you go in grade and rank, if you go to the highest, it can go what, I think 30 to 31 years. You know what I'm saying, for E9s. And for those that go to the officer side, that go in with education and have some bars on, officers normally they can go probably something like I think it's something like, maybe for them it's maybe 28 to like 40 years. Obviously that's if you make general and stuff like that, they can retire like 40 or 40 something years, but officers can hang around for like at least like what, maybe 28 to 30 something years and retire with a nice pension. Quick story, I shared this before. I knew, and I'm retired military, but I knew he was retired. Was he retired 1-star or 2-star? He's retired 1-star, fighter pilot in the Marine Corps, and he had wound up on the outside. He was also a veteran with a disability rating, and so he wound up being a vice president for a corporation on the outside, and then he was still drawing his military pension and plus his VA compensation. So he said off his military pension alone, as a retired 1-star or I think 2-star, he was pulling in something like after taxes $8,000 a month. And he said he wasn't even touching that. That was just going to the bank. So that's $96,000 a year, guys. And I'm quite sure this was years ago. So I'm quite sure his cost of living and everything has gone up. So you're talking about this guy who's getting 6 figures just off of his military pension loan. Then plus he's got his VA compensation, which is more money. And then he was working, as a vice president. But the military, provided him certain types of education, and it provided him with certain leadership skills that enabled him to launch, and gain the experience he needed. And so as a result, he could be a vice president on the outside, based on his combination of experience, education, and his training from the military. So this is some things, some food for thought, guys, And definitely I would say it's a benefit to those that are, if you want to go into the medical profession. The military definitely needs nurses and doctors and stuff like that. So, something to consider, And there's other, you got every different type of career field in the armed forces, but the main thing is, your career is up to you, and those that choose to make the military career is what you do with it. What are you going to do with this opportunity, that you have, But if you take advantage of these opportunities and you learn all you can and you save and invest your money right, you can get out young from the military. You're able to go in at the age of 17. So if you go, and the latest you can enlist in the armed forces, I think it's something like I think it's 34 or maybe 35 years of age. So either way, if you do 20, you can come out with a retirement, in your 50s. And if you're able to go further, then obviously you get a higher rate, of your retirement. Then if you get VA compensated, you can draw, money through the VA, with a compensation from them as well. And, and then you got your educational benefits, like I said, your loan for, to purchase a house, there's a host of different other opportunities. I mean, it's too deep, too much of me to go into one video, but I would definitely say for those seeking to make the military career, I would definitely say it's a viable option. You get the opportunity to travel and see the world, at the government's expense. So you get a chance to get, these are certain intangibles, that you garner. You get to travel the world, experience different cultures, meet different people, and you become more well-rounded and better balanced, and you get to grow. So, these are just some things to consider, but I guess I might have I'm gonna end my little I guess ramble, but it's just some food for thought. These are just what I named here are just some of the pathways. You know what I'm saying? There are others, and I'll probably and go back and take a look at some things, and I'll come out with some more specifics. You know what I'm saying, with organizations, blah blah blah, and stuff like that the military offers, and how what you can connect to on the outside to give you a smoother ride and give you a step up and an advantage. You know what I'm saying? In some ways than the average civilian. So it's some food for thought. But that's all I have on this one. And the name of this channel is Eric Broadus YouTube. That's EricBroadus, YouTube.com. So smash the bell to become a subscriber. Turn on all notifications. Hit the like button to like the video. Hit the unlike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment. I'm saying everybody's entitled to their opinion, and you may have some additional information that you would like to share. I'm saying, with myself and others in the comments. I'm saying, push them out, guys. Push and share the video. Also, this will be for my snacks. SNAKZ123 channel on Rumble. Go over there and subscribe. Smash that like button to like the videos. Smash the unlike button likewise if you don't like them. Either way, leave a comment of dialogue with you, and share the videos and everything in the channel on Rumble. Also, I have a podcast, Snacks Thoughts. SNAKZTHOUGHTS, Snacks Thoughts. And my podcast can be found on Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Radio PBM, SoundCloud, and a host of other social media outlets. So please join Snacks Thoughts and share it. And I also have my website up where I'm selling the 5 best weight loss products. And so if you desire to lose weight, cut fat, even lose belly fat, I would suggest, click on the link and purchase the products, and also share the link, with others as well that desire to do the same thing. Next to God, our health is the best thing that we have. So take care of it, because you only get one body and you only have one life to live. All right, guys? But again, this video, the military is a pathway to success, and it does. It offers pathways to success. But that's all I have on this one, and thank you to all my subscribers, and thank you for those that have supported the channel and are supporting. And push them out, share it with friends, family, enemies, frenemies, dogs, cats, bats, whatever. Share it, push it out, guys. I'll catch you on the next one, and I got some stuff coming for my Snacks Thoughts podcast as well. Peace out. Later.